there, good morning. You've tuned into ET now, and this is Buy Now Sell Now with me, Cheryl D'Souza. Along with me, I have Shrishti Sharma. Very good morning to you, Shrishti. And it's looking like a good morning, a brighter morning coming in for the market once again, actually, because we've surpassed that 23,000 mark on the Nifty once again. So we've reclaimed 23,000 on the Nifty. The markets are trading higher by about 1% near the day's highest point as we speak. You had a big event. In fact, it's been an eventful week, isn't it? We had the exit poll, you had the verdict. Then you had the government formation coming into place today. You had the crucial meeting as well of the NDA members. And also you had the RBI monetary policy or MPC monetary policy outcome, where they have actually maintained the rates. The repo rate is kept at 6.5%. However, the RBI governor or the MPC decided to go ahead and revise upwards the GDP growth target for FY25 to 7.2% as against 7% earlier. However, maintaining even the inflation target at around 4.5%. And that sort of may have enthused the market, given some more steam to the rally that has been underway for a third consecutive session coming in for the benchmark indices. Nifty Bank as well holding on to good gains as we speak. Take a look at what broader markets are doing. Are they moving in tandem? In fact, not moving in tandem. They are surpassing the benchmark indices. If you look at the small cap index, and if you take note of the rally that the small cap index had witnessed in the last three trading sessions, the small cap index in fact has gone ahead and erased the downtick that it had witnessed on the poll day. So it has recovered from those levels completely. So that's the Nifty small cap index for you. Let me just put in the percentage point of view where the small cap index is traded at this point in time. If you look at the small cap index, trading higher by about 1.6%. You have the IT index, that's the top sectoral gainer in today's trading session. The IT index is seeing gains of about 3%. You have realty index holding on to good gains as well as we speak. You have pharma index also seeing a good up move as well. But let's take a look at which are the sectors that are seeing some sort of a downtick. Actually, none of the sectors are in the lower end of the market. So all the sectoral indices in the positive territory as we speak. Let's take a look at the stocks then which are buzzing in trade. You have Wipro, LTI Mindtree, Tech Mahindra, Infosys. All of them are the top four gainers on the Nifty right now. You have Bajaj Finance also holding on to good gains, about 3.3%. On the flip side is SBI Life, Bajaj Auto, Maruti Suzuki, Britannia taking a bit easy. But it's heartening to know that none of those Nifty losers are losing more than 1% in trade today. In fact, they all are losing less than 1%. So it looks like the market breadth is pretty healthy, and hopefully that strong momentum will continue going ahead, Shrishti.
Well, yes, good to see that the Nifty is once again back to that 23,000 mark, and indeed all the sectors are trading in the green. That was about the market check. But viewers, today is Friday and we're going to be getting you Buy Now, Sell Now Pathshala as well. So in the studios, let's go across to Kunal Bothra, who is joining us live. Hi, very good morning, Kunal. So let's quickly take you to the Buy Now, Sell Now Pathshala. And I must say, Cheryl, it's been a long time no see.
Exactly, long time no see. Kunal has been bunking his classes, isn't it, Kunal?
Not really. I think the classes were not happening because of some reason or the other.
Certainly.
So I think it's good to be back. Now the topic for today is again one of the interesting themes of technical analysis, which we typically call it as a range breakout, because this is a very important pattern when you talk of stocks coming out of consolidations and major ranges for themselves. And what are the trigger points which leads into such kind of range breakouts, and then what happens post such kind of range breakouts, and how do the stocks typically behave. So I think we'll look at a couple of examples over here. The first example which we'll have is in terms of stocks, and that's Sun TV. And the reason why I've picked up is on two scales. One, that the stock had gone through a recent correction from 2023 highs of 720, 740 approximately. The stock had fallen down to sub 600 levels. Now, in this zone of price correction, and then what followed was a major time-wise consolidation, the stock started to remain into a range. So what happens is, typically in a consolidation, the stock defines a range for itself. The volumes typically tend to drop down. So as you see that when the price started to get into a correction mode, the volumes typically get into a drop-down mode. Now, typically at a certain price point of this consolidation, there is a sudden interest which spikes up into the stocks. Now, for example, you can look at this kind of candle, and on this candle day, you see the volume spiking for the stock price. Same happened for the stock over here. When the stock started to get into a breakout mode, the volume spiked up, which means that the stock is now trying to define that after a major zone of correction as well as a time consolidation, these are the two candlesticks which leads into a breakout mode or a potential breakout which could be coming into the stock price. Then forms the real breakout time for the stock price, and as you can see that the cluster of volumes in this kind of a time zone indicates that the stock is now heading towards a price volume breakout, and the previous swing low, so this low as well as the previous swing low forms a very critical support for the stock in the near to medium term. This is the classical sign of what we look out for when stocks come out of a range breakout in terms of higher volumes. Now we look at one more example over here, and that's a very recent one, and that's Oracle Finance OFSS, and again interesting price pattern over here for the stock. It went into a sharp correction. So as you can see that many of these IT stocks over the last 2 years have been going to a sharp correction. So no exception for OFSS also. The stock fell from 9,000 to sub 7,000 levels. Again, a major price band for the stock. So this is almost like a 900 to 1000 point range, which means closer to 7,000. You can see the major support for the stock, and multiple times the stock had taken resistance at the 7,900, 8,000 band. Again, the volumes initially dropped down for the stock, and then you can see the recent activity or spike in volumes for the stock. This is pre to the breakout for the stock, and then you finally see the stock breaking out. So again, a classical sign over here where the stock gives a breakout. Potentially, this could now head towards 8,800, 8,900 over the near term.
All right, so that is the new topic for Pathshala today, and that is range breakout. Actually, in-depth coverage coming in from Kunal, or explanation coming in from Kunal on that particular topic. Thank you so much, Kunal, as always, for taking our viewers through a new topic on bnsn Pathshala. But with that, we will slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll start taking your query. Viewers, don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now. And viewers, before we start taking all your stock-related queries, let's shift focus to a news flow there, because we learn that the capital market regulator, Sebi, has sought data from the stakeholders on complaints of NAV allotment on June 4th. Now, several investors had complained of the next day NAV allotment despite orders placed before 2 p.m. And Anurag Shah is here with more details.
Market regulator Sebi has taken cognizance of issue faced by thousands of investors on 4th of June during the election day, where they have invested on 4th before the cutoff time, but they got the NAV of 5th of June. So Sebi has asked for data from all concerned stakeholders, and Sebi will look into the loopholes so in future this can be rectified. So on 4th of June, during the election results, when results were coming, Nifty fall around 6%, and many investors made investments in a mutual fund scheme before the cutoff time of 2 p.m. But thousands of them received the NAV of next June, and on 5th of June again market rallied by 3%. So the benefit or the advantage investor wanted to get from the fall of market, they could not take up that advantage because they got the next day NAV. So exchanges, BSE has just now issued a clarification that there was no technical glitch from exchange side. There were numerous issues where UPI payments were received with a delay. So due to that only the next day NAV was given to the investor. So that is the statement issued by BSE. So there is a probability that payment aggregators must have not settled the money, and that money is not reached to exchanges, and therefore they got the next day NAV. So Sebi is looking into the whole issue, so loopholes can be rectified, and these type of incident should not occur in future.
Anurag, for getting us that very pertinent story coming in, actually the fact that the Sebi has sought data on complaints of NAV allotment on June 4th, and you had my colleague Anurag Shah actually outline what exactly happened and why is Sebi now seeking data on that particular front. But with that, let's kick start with taking all of the stock related queries. Remember, viewers, you can write to us on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on your screen. Do remember, each time you write to us, mention your name, the stock that you're looking to invest in, mention that as well. And if you've already purchased purchase. They mention the buy price, the quantity and the time horizon, which is very important because in that way we will be able to guide you better and take your queries to our experts. We have Kunal Bothra, who is on the technical front, who will guide you for the short-term to medium-term queries, while we have Avinash Gorakshakar joining us on the show to take you through the fundamentals, especially the long-term growth story of a particular counter. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Avinash, for joining us on the show today. And with that, let me kickstart taking all of his stock-related queries. And the first query that I have is coming in from all the way from Japan. And this one is coming in from Sunny. He is a very long-term investor. He's saying his time horizon is usually 5-year plus, Avinash. And also he's a big fan of your Pathshala, Kunal, is what he is mentioning in his query. He's saying that he's holding 800 shares of Berger Paints at a price of around 520 rupees per share. He wants to buy further more of this counter at current levels. Does it make sense for the longer term? And he's asking if it is a good idea. Let me take this to both of you then. Kunal, firstly, I'll come to you to ask if it makes sense to buy Berger Paints right now. Is this price attractive for Berger Paints? How is the chart looking to you?
See, I think, I would probably believe that it's a very good proposition to buy the stock at current levels. Now, there are 2 points over here. One, of course, because you are a long-term investor and you have a time horizon of 5 years plus. I think it's, a better time to try and buy stocks which are at the peak of pessimism. Now, the other way to look out for is that the stock on the long-term charts has hit this levels of 460 twice. I think in the last 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, I think 2022 apparently was also one of the periods where the stock had hit back into that kind of a price zone for itself, which means that the stock is, good price and, good news, they generally don't come together. We know the news flow for the paint stocks is on the negative side, but the fact that the prices have come back again to that multi-year low makes the trade a lot more attractive. So I think from a long-term play specifically, I would believe it's a very good buy.
What's your take then, Avinash? Long-term play, it's a good buy at current levels. The charts are looking good is what Kunal has to say for Berger Paints. What's your take on this one? Makes sense to stay put with this, buy some more, stay put with this for the longer term now?
Yeah, I think, on a longer term basis, Berger Paints has got a very large exposure both on the industrial as well as on the residential segment. They have a fairly strong brand in the domestic market. And I think, the best part is raw material prices have come down quite significantly. And I think that is going to be a big major booster for margin enhancement in the coming year. Competition has increased. We have seen 2 new players, that is JSW and Grasim, entering the domestic market. But I think, Berger, which is more of a older player, definitely has the tenacity to compete with the new players. And I think it's unlikely that in the very near term, margin pressure could be significant for a player like Berger. So I think, if the investor has a long-term view, I think he could even chip in at the current levels. And as Kunal pointed out, maybe around 460, 470, if the stock does come down to that level, it's a good opportunity to accumulate because longer term, trajectory for the company looks pretty solid. In the very near term, there could be a small range movement in the stock depending on how the company reports its first quarter numbers. Purely because I believe the first quarter would be a kind of a pickup quarter. And I think the second half is normally a very robust period for most of the paint companies because it coincides with a lot of festivals and celebrations. So that is the time when volume growth also picks up. So net, I think continue to hold. And even at the current level, one can average for a long-term horizon.
All right, then moving on, and Avinash, the next query that I have is coming from Mitu from Mumbai, and she has highlighted a couple of counters wherein after a steep fall, all these stocks are seeing good rebound. Amongst L&T Finance, Canara Bank, BEL as well as Biocon. Any stock that you like to invest afresh out of these 4?
I think amongst these 4 stocks, I think we would be more positive on Canara Bank and Bharat Electronics. I think, both these companies, Canara Bank has posted very robust numbers, a profit of almost 15,000 crores plus, very strong asset quality. Plus, they have a well-established housing finance subsidiary called Canfin Homes. Our sense is that in the coming budget, the affordable housing segment could get a major booster shot, and that I think would benefit Canara Bank quite significantly. Even on the digital side, they've been making very good initiatives. So Canara Bank on a standalone basis, I think it's the stock has got split recently. One could look at a fair value of at least 155, 165. And Bharat Electronics, I think, the company has posted very solid numbers, zero debt business, 75,000 crore order book. My sense is that if the investor can hold on the stock for the next 2 years, one could definitely expect a very strong risk reward. So I think both these stocks within these 4 look quite attractive. The other 2 stocks, I would suggest a hold, no fresh buying suggestion.
All right, Kunal, coming to you next. This one is coming from Raghu Raman, who's writing to us from Trichy. He has Bajaj Finance, 7 stocks at a price of around 7,050 rupees per share. He wants to know that should he go ahead and book that little profit he's making in the counter or continue to hold on to it?
No. I think why? What is the need to try and book profits over here? Just at a point when the stock is at the cusp of a potential big breakout. Now, what's happened for Bajaj Finance is that yes, the stock over the last many months has gone through a major time-wise and a price-wise correction. I would not say major price correction, but more of a time-wise correction as well as a grind for itself. But I think for the first time in the last 4-5 months, if I'm not wrong, that the stock is showing signs of a potential price volume breakout. Now, price-wise, the stock has to cross about those 70 to 50, 7,300 mark on closing basis, where it could probably reinstate a breakout for itself. But the volumes have made a strong comeback for Bajaj Finance. So I would believe that the stock holds a lot of potential on the upside. Many of these financial services stocks which have been underperforming, they are also making a comeback for themselves, which means that this could be a synchronized move across the sector. And Bajaj Finance, of course, could be amongst the top leaders in the pack. So I would suggest a hold.
All right, moving on. And Kunal, once again coming to you, the next query is coming from Sabitri Rani, senior citizen, writing to us from West Bengal, and she wants a technical potential in Signature Global. She's been holding the stock from a price of 735 rupees, almost a doubler for her. What to do in this one, and can she look to book out some profits right here?
So I think recently listed name, if I'm not wrong, just about I think from September or just prior to that 2023. Again, the price history so far has been very strong. The recent correction also indicates that 1100 to 1200 range, 1120 to be precise, is a strong support that's been tested 3 times in the last, I think, 5 months or so. So February as well as in the month of March, and recently in the month of, in the last couple of days, the stock had tested this 1100, 1120 odd mark 3 times. And I think on all of those 3 attempts, the stock seems to have found a major base as well as a support for itself. So keeping that as a trailing stop loss on maybe weekly closing basis, I think you can continue to hold on.
All right, this one is coming in from Manish Bhatt, who has Patel Engineering, 1,000 shares at around 48 rupees per share, actually, Avinash. Apart from that, he has Poonawalla FinCorp, which he's purchased at 275, Jubilant Ingravia at 570 rupees per share. So these are the counters that he's holding: Patel Engineering, Jubilant Ingravia, as well as Poonawalla FinCorp. He wants to know whether it makes sense to hold on to these counters or instead look to switch to IT pack like the mid-cap names like Birlasoft or Persistent Systems for a period of about 3 years or so.
I think my sense is, I think Poonawalla Finance, which he has purchased, and Patel Engineering, also which he has purchased. These are 2 counters, I think, which should show significant growth over the next, say, 2 to 3 years. Poonawalla Finance has been aggressively increasing its loan book, has been maintaining decent asset quality. And I think looking at the kind of growth momentum and the tailwinds in the NBFC sector, I would not be surprised that Poonawalla Finance could show a very strong year even for the current year, that is FY25. Patel Engineering is sitting on an order book of almost 4,500 crores. A lot of marquee investors have now entered the stock. The company had recently did a preferential round where it raised fresh money. So my sense is here also, I think if the investor can give at least 12 to 18 months, one can definitely think of holding on. Which was the last share you mentioned? If you could please tell me the name.
He has at 570 rupees per share, Jubilant Ingravia.
See, here I think my guess is that this company initially when it got listed, I think it was a stock which was arisen out of a demerger. Here, I think the investor has to keep in a slightly longer term view because the company has made a massive capex, but I think yet the operating leverage benefits have not yet got reflected in the top line and the profitability. So here, if the investor can hold on for the next 18 to 24 months, one could definitely look at getting a decent risk reward. Here also the company operates in niche specialty chemicals, and I think here also the risk reward is definitely looking attractive. Only thing is he has to give in a longer time frame. I would say is that at this point of time, although the IT basket has shown a strong momentum, the long-term trajectory for IT would improve only once we get better visibility from the US and the European market, which is at least about 3 to 6 months away. So all these 3 stocks are good. He can continue to hold.
All right, Avinash, what's your take on Pilani investment? I'm not sure whether you tracked this one or not, but Srini from Chennai is holding 90 shares and his buy price is 3,800 rupees. He's a long-term investor and wants a long-term view on this one, and he can continue holding it maybe for the next 3 years.
This question is for me.
Yes,
Srishti.
Avinash, for you. Pilani Investment, if at all you track this one.
See, this is a company which belongs to the Birlas, and I think the company is definitely doing pretty well. But one must understand that this is a fairly illiquid stock. So I think the liquidity in this counter is very limited. So there's hardly any volume in this counter. I think as an investment company and as a holding company, typically such companies get a discount on their holdings which they continue to hold. So I would suggest that if the investor has a 2 to 3 year kind of view, he can continue to hold. And that too, I think he has to keep in mind that this is a highly illiquid stock. So getting in and getting out is little difficult in a counter like this. But long-term prospects are definitely good. So if he's got a 2 to 3 year kind of time frame, he can continue to hold.
Right, this one is coming to you, Kunal from Sridhar, who's writing to us from Coimbatore. He wants to know whether it's right time to average our Sonata software. He's saying he already is holding some small quantity at a price of 750 rupees per share. What's your take on this one? Support and resistance coming for the stock?
So very good price to try and buy the stock or maybe average further if you bought at higher levels. But my only concern is the last 3 days of up move could probably have brought the very short-term charts for the stock into slight overbought territory. So you may probably get the stock maybe 10-15 points lower than the current market price. That could be a better price zone. So maybe closer to 555, 560 could be a better price point in case if you want to wait out for those kind of price points for the stock. But I think nevertheless, even if it's a medium-term kind of a play, I think it's a very good price to try and average out further since you've bought at higher levels of 750.
All right, that's the take coming in on Sonata Software. But with this, viewers, it's time to slip into a very short break in this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to take more of your stock-related queries. Welcome back to Buy Now Sell Now, and let's keep it going with all your stock related queries then. And the next query that I have, Kunal, is coming from V Ravichandran, holding Tata Consumers 200 shares, where he invested about like 10 years ago, and his buy price is just 160 levels. He's a long-term investor, but what's the potential in this stock from current levels? This is already been a multi-bagger for him, but do you believe that the stock has more steam and he should stay invested?
I definitely think you should stay invested over here. So one of the tough times for the stock, I think could probably have passed away. In the last 2-3 months, the stock had seen correction of 20% broadly, 1250 to 1050 odd levels. And I think it's now making a comeback for itself. FMCG stocks have been doing pretty well. Yes, the stock has been a relative underperformer with respect to many of the peers from the pack. But I strongly believe that it's still a very high degree and a quality name. So whenever the stock makes a strong comeback, the stock would probably tend to catch up with the underperformance with many of the peers. So I think even on that aspect, I think it's a very, it's a stock which you should definitely look to buy and hold.
All right, this next one is coming in from Sunil Chaya, who's writing to us from Gujarat, and he has Bata, about 100 shares at a price around 1,428 rupees per share. He's been holding on to this counter for the last 2 years. Should he stay put with this one or look to exit? And also he has another query on a paint counter, that's Kansai Nerolac. He purchased at around 289 rupees per share. Should he stay put with this one or look to switch to Berger Paints? What's your take coming on both of these counters, Avinash? Firstly, Bata, the buy price is 1,428. For the last 2 years, our viewer is holding on to Bata. And the other stock that he wants to know is Kansai Nerolac. Should he stay put or switch to Berger?
No, I think he could continue to hold on to Goodla's Kansai Nerolac. See, my sense is here also, if one were to look at the business of Kansai, I think it's an MNC play, a very strong exposure in the industrial automotive segment, very strong customers base. And mostly, the growth is largely come from the OEM sales. So I think, here, if the investor has at least a 12 to 18 month kind of time frame, like all paint companies, the company seems to be quite well positioned. I think one needs to take a longer term view. So definitely Kansai Nerolac can be held on. As far as Bata is concerned, it's been a relative underperformer for the last 2 years, and I think numbers have not been very encouraging. Even the fourth quarter numbers, were not all that great for Bata. My sense is that unless and until we see some noticeable improvement, especially going forward in the next 1 or 2 quarters, this stock is unlikely to get re-rated in a hurry. The company has got everything going for it: a MNC promoter, a debt-free balance sheet, but unfortunately, volume growth and margin pressure has been significant if you compare it to the other players. So at best, it's a hold. I would suggest that another 2 quarters, one needs to review the performance and then take a fresh call.
Moving on to the next one, and Kunal, your view on L&T. Rohit from Pune is already holding the stock from a price of 3,480 rupees, and just to fall a couple of days back, he missed the opportunity to add more of this name. What's your view? Can he go ahead and add more of L&T at current market price, or wait out for some more dip?
So you can look to add further at current levels also. Maybe even if the dip comes, I would probably believe that 3450 could be maybe a support which the stock can still hold on to, round off to those kind of levels. Because over the last 2 days also, I think with the mild volatility coming back for the stock price, 3450 broadly is a level which has been held on to. So I would believe that that could be a much better price point. But the stocks like L&T are more trending in nature. So if in case the stock gets into a breakout, and if it doesn't retest into the previous lows, then you may miss out on an opportunity in case the stock starts off a fresh short-term uptrend. So hold is definitely which I would recommend, and if possible, you can look to add current levels of 3,500 approximately.
All right, so that's the take coming in on the counters, but let's shift focus to what exactly is happening on the political front. Remember, it's been a very busy week, but it's going to be a very busy day in Delhi's power corridors as the NDA MPs have reached the Parliament Central Hall for a crucial meeting today. Prime Minister Modi is likely to be elected as NDA's leader, and the BJP and his allies are likely to stake claim for the government formation tomorrow. Sumit Chaturvedi is waiting by with all the latest update on that particular front. And Sumit, yes, a very, very big day coming in, and in fact a very busy one for you.
Well, absolutely. It has been a busy week. It started Tuesday, but today, now the process of forming government has started. Just a short while ago, the NDA meeting began with all the NDA members present. Well, since yesterday, all the main NDA MPs, they started coming, and the key allies, JDU members were there since yesterday. Today, Chandrababu Naidu also came. His MPs are also present there. After that, they will elect a PM as the leader of the Parliament Committee, and thereafter they may go to President today itself to stake claim to form the government. So process has kicked in as far as the government formation is concerned. As far as seat sharing and the cabinet berth allocation, all that also is going to happen. It looks like today the talks are at very advanced stage. BJP wants to keep the key portfolio with itself, including finance, defense, home, etc. And the formula has been worked out for MP for one post, or if there are more, then more posts could be there. Official sources, top BJP sources, have also told us that NDA allies are not, both JDU and TDP are not pushing too much also. On Wednesday, they showed the full confidence in PM Modi's leadership, and they said they are going to be part of the NDA alliance, remain part of NDA alliance, to take part in the journey of Viksit Bharat, and reform bandwagon will continue. So all eyes are on today, this meeting which has begun. A formal process has begun now for forming of the new government. Day after tomorrow, June 9th, PM Modi, well, the ministers can also take oath. That's also look very clear now. But today, yes, the formal process has begun, and the process has kicked in. For the whole day, they will keep on meeting. The meetings will keep on happening. But yes, we can say for sure that the NDA flock is together, and formally the process has begun to form the new government.
All right, thank you so much for that, actually, Sumit. And yes, a very big day, and looks like the process has now formally started to form the new government. And if sources are to be believed, that Sunday could be the likely swearing in coming in for the brand new government. So that's the latest that we've got when it comes to the update on the political front. But on that note, we can slip into a break on this edition of Buy and Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your query. Viewers, don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You are watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking your queries, but let's take a note of the markets as well, because we are seeing a spectacular rise coming in the market. We have actually built on to those gains. At this point in time, we have even reclaimed 23,100 mark on the Nifty, 1.4% uptick coming in on Nifty index, 300 points uptick on an intraday basis coming in for the index. Let's take a look at what the broader markets are doing. And you have a small cap index that's trading high about 1.8%. You have Nifty Bank that is participating in the rally as well. So all in all, it looks like it's a very bright Friday coming in for the benchmark indices once again. But let's continue taking all of your stock related queries. This one is coming from Vignesh, who's writing to us from Vellore, and he has Nuvoco Vista, which he purchased at 335 rupees per share, as well as Tarsan Products at around 459 rupees per share. Kunal, what's your take on both of these counters, Nuvoco Vista as well as Tarsan Products? What should he do?
So I think you should hold on to both of these names, Nuvoco Vista as well as Tarsan. I think Nuvoco, for example, specifically, the stock has come back to a breakout around the 325, 330 mark. After a recent swing low close to 305 level. So looks attractive, and I would suggest a potential target over the short term, say closer to 350 odd for the stock. And for Tarsans also, I think it's interesting because the stock has come back towards a major support of 400. It's a double support for the stock on the weekly monthly chart. So I think in that aspect also, it's a very attractive buy.
All right, Avinash, the next query that I have is coming in from on Gujarat Fluorochemicals, wherein Swati is already holding the stock, but she's at a single-digit loss in percentage terms in this counter. So she wants to know that will that be a good strategy to move out of this one and rather go ahead and buy Hindustan Zinc or Vedanta at current market price?
See, my guess is I think, metal sector is a momentum sector, and Gujarat Fluoro is a well-established chemical player. My sense is that, one or two bad quarters does not make the company bad. And I think the company has a very healthy order book. My sense is that, if the investor can give in at least, 8 to 12 months, Gujarat Fluoro can easily bounce back. The company's balance sheet is very strong. Order book is very healthy, and I think the management is very hopeful that FY25 should be a lot better as compared to last year. So I think, probably if the investor can give in a little more time, it's better to hold rather than getting into the metal sector, either a Vedanta or a Hindustan Zinc. Both these counters have seen a significant increase. In fact, Hindustan Zinc has jumped significantly. So I think there the alpha or the incremental upside may be limited. But in case of Gujarat Fluoro, once numbers start coming in, on a positive side, you could see a much bigger kind of a re-rating. And I think it operates largely as a monopoly player in certain product categories. So that I think also becomes a big plus for the stock. So I would suggest continue to hold. Given a time frame of at least 8 to 12 months, I think a risk reward could definitely be much better than the other two companies.
Let me take this next query then. This one is coming in from Manjunathan, who's writing to us from Bangalore. And Manjunathan has Poshak. That's the counter, 100 shares at a price of 5,700 rupees per share. Kunal, I'm not sure if you track this counter closely, but our viewer wants to know whether he should stay put with this or exit and look at some other good chemical stocks.
I don't track it, so I'll skip it.
All right. By any chance, Avinash, have you tried this one? You tracked this one?
So I think it's a very illiquid counter, Cheryl. I sense this company's fundamentals are rock solid. But I think, clearly the stock has moved up to a territory where I think incremental upsides now look to be a little difficult. If the investor has purchased the stock at a lower level, I would suggest at least book part profits. The company has a well-established kind of business model in the agrochemical market, has been doing pretty well. But
Avinash is making a loss because his buy price is 5,700 rupees per share.
I think then any rise, Cheryl, should be used as an opportunity to sell off because, clearly in these kind of illiquid counters, when you get stuck up, I think the incremental upside becomes a little more difficult. Liquidity is one of the most important things, when you invest in these small, tiny companies. And liquidity, if it is going to be controlled and limited, then I think even the exit becomes a lot tougher. So I think exit, on any rise, that's the advice.
Okay. Moving on then, and the next query that I have, Kunal, is coming in on Orient Paper. Ashok Kumar from Mumbai has purchased 1,000 shares. His buy price is 45 rupees. In the long term, how do you expect the stock to move, as well as should he continue to hold on or look to switch to HDFC Bank?
I think, of course, switching towards HDFC Bank would always be a better proposition, given the way the markets are, and the potential construction of your entire portfolio. But then if you ask me specifically about Orient Paper, I would believe that it's a stock which I believe could probably find its mojo back pretty soon. So what's actually happening is that many of the paper stocks had gone through a time-wise as well as a price-wise correction. Very recently, the likes of JK Paper has come back about that 400 levels, which means we are looking at a potential breakout which could happen for many of these paper stocks, and they could also make a strong comeback going forward. So and we've seen that the market mood right now is that wherever you've seen underperformance in terms of sectors, those are the ones which are making a very strong comeback. So potentially paper sector can also make a strong comeback. I would probably in that aspect advise a hold on Oriental Paper. But again, as I said, depends on the overall construction of your portfolio. If you don't have large cap names, then you can maybe switch over to HDFC Bank.
Okay, this one is coming from Shashank Singh, writing to us from Kanpur. He has Z Entertainment at a price of 259 rupees per share. He has about 100 shares of this particular counter in his portfolio. Avinash, what's your take coming in for the long term? Should he stay put with this, look to average, or look to exit from Z Entertainment? This one has always been in the news every alternate month.
No, I think Z Entertainment, I think if you look at the business structure, it's attractive. But I think after the Sony fiasco, I think the stock has, underperformed quite significantly. My sense is that this could be a contra bet for an investor who can give in at least 1.5 to 2 years, because the business is definitely there. The business model is very strong. But even as of now, there are many balance sheet issues which need to be resolved. And plus the market is awaiting very strong numbers from the company. Only once that happens, the stock will get re-rated. The old management has come back, but I think to re-infuse confidence in investors, the market expects a very strong profit and earnings growth trajectory, which I think may take some time. So unless you got at least 1.5 to 2 years, I think it may not sound very good for an investor who wants to take a short to medium term view. So I think if you've got 2 years, you can definitely buy or even hold on to the stock. Otherwise, I think it's not worth buying.
Avinash, what's your view coming in on Paynar Industries? Peter from Trichy wants to know, is this a good stock to enter for the long term, maybe for the next 3 years?
Yeah, I think definitely company has a promising potential. It's got a nice order book also. And I think recently we have been hearing reports that a lot of marquee investors have entered the stock. So I think, if the investor has a long-term view, at least the next 12 to 18 months, one can definitely look at buying a small quantity. But I think keep a long-term view. In the near term, the stock has gone up. So I would say that longer-term prospects are definitely positive. FY25 should be a lot better than last year.
All right. This one is coming in from our viewer. This is from Sudha. She wants to know, out of the 2 stocks, which can she look to buy today? Out of the 3 list of stocks, she wants to buy 2 stocks. I beg your pardon, Kunal. One is Nippon Life, Divi's Laboratories, and Astra Micro. Out of these 3, which 2 can she look to buy right now?
So, I mean, difficult one to choose just 2 out of the 3. But I would probably believe Divi's Lab could be a better bet because of the way the stock has underperformed, and potentially, the structure for many of these pharma stocks. I would believe that could be a better name to look out for. Astra Micro, somehow the stock is going through a correction for itself. So I think from 900, 950 mark, the stock had come down to 700 levels. Still not seen a very strong bounce back, which means potentially the stock could retest its previous swing lows. And the first one which you mentioned was
one is Nippon Life, Divi's, and Astra. Yeah.
So yeah, Nippon Life could be a better bet. Looking at the way many of these, the AMC stocks have moved up, I would probably believe that could be a better proposition to look out for.
All right. Avinash, Prashanjit Ghosh from Havra wants to have a take on ABB India as well as Hitachi Energy. Can he go ahead and make a fresh investment in any of these names?
I think my guess is, these companies, unless and until the investor has a 2 to 3 year kind of time frame in mind, because most of these stocks are available at fairly expensive valuations, although the long term prospects are definitely good. And in these kind of high price stocks, most importantly, you need to understand that these are basically compounders. You cannot generate an alpha in these companies in a very short period of time. So I think unless the investor has a 2 to 3 year kind of time frame and he wants to include them in their portfolio, I think there's no need to buy everything in one shot. One can do a small SIP, and any correction in the market for these stocks should be used to accumulate, and hold on to these positions. But only longer term investors will make money. In the short term, these stocks have moved up quite significantly. So immediate incremental upside seems to be quite limited.
All right, the next query is coming in from Vishwanath Nair. And Kunal, there are a couple of counters where he is making profits and he wants to know whether it makes sense to go ahead and book profits right now. One is Wokat Pharma, the buy price is 385 rupees per share. Hindalco is 550 rupees per share. And Varroc Engineering, 520 is the buy price. Which one of these do you think it makes sense to book profits right now? And which one do you think he should continue to hold on to?
Frankly, I would ask all three of them to be held on to. But if you are looking at maybe booking out profits just because the markets have rallied up and maybe you are anticipating some signs of some kind of cool off, then I would think in that aspect, Wokat Pharma could be a stock which you can look to maybe book partial profits over here. But Hindalco, Varroc, these stocks have done exceptionally well. So trying to digest all the news flow, negative news flow for these stocks, making a comeback time and again. Metal sector overall looking quite strong. So I think on that front, Hindalco has been one of the stronger performing names. I would be bullish on the stock even at current levels. So if in case you're looking to book out profits, then maybe Wokat Pharma you can book out 50% of your profits over here.
All right then, the next query that I have, Kunal, let me take it from you only. This query is from Mary from Chennai, holding 25 shares of Adani Enterprise, but her buy price is 3,290 rupees. Should she continue holding this one, or can rather move from this counter to Endurance Technologies at the current market price? She wants a short to medium term view.
See, I think both the stocks are completely different in terms of price trend. Adani Enterprise, we all know that has been fluctuating on the back of whatever has been happening over the last 1 week or so, around elections, politics, etc. So I believe that the stock may continue to remain into that kind of a trading zone. But if the news flow turns out to be positive, then you may probably expect the stock to break past about the 3,300, 3,400 mark, which was the recent swing high for Adani Enterprise. So the beta of the stock is very high. Endurance, on the other hand, has been more of a trending stock. The concern for Endurance is the price have come back into a sort of a, I would not say extremely overbought, but it's entering into that overbought territory so far on the charts, which means that the risk reward to enter at current levels may not be best. So I would suggest that maybe over the next couple of days, if you see some sort of a correction in Endurance, the stock coming back towards say 2375 odd mark, that could be a better price point to enter and shift to make that shift.
All right, this next one that I have is coming in from a viewer, Ashish, who's writing to us from Delhi. And Kunal, he has a huge lump sum amount, approximately 30 lakhs or so, that he's looking to invest only for a period of 3 months. That large sum of amount, any stock that you think he can invest for that short period of time?
So again, I think in that kind of a time span, we generally don't recommend mid caps and small caps. We would recommend that if you are looking out for large cap or such kind of a short term time frame, go out for large cap names. I would believe HDFC Bank, L&T, Bajaj Finance, you can probably add maybe SBI into that kitty. I think Reliance Industries has been looking quite strong. So maybe you can try and bifurcate accordingly into these 5 odd large cap names. That could be a much better proposition given the way the markets are.
All right, moving on then to the next query. And Avinash, what's your view coming in on NCC? Padma Siva Rao has bought 100 shares and his buy price is close to 230 rupees. What's your view on this particular name?
I think he can continue to hold to NCC because see, I think in all probability, infrastructure, EPC, and construction companies are going to benefit once the new government announces its budget in July. Already the stock has gone up, but I think looking at the kind of order book, the kind of execution the company has been doing, and typically, this company is Andhra Pradesh based. So, a lot of stocks which have have Andhra Pradesh as their base have actually gone up. We have seen stocks like Heritage Foods, Amara Raja Batteries, a lot of Andhra Pradesh companies going up. So, sentiment is definitely positive. So, continue to hold. I think data point and numbers for FY25, according to us, would be a lot better because once infrastructure projects are announced by the government, NCC could be a major beneficiary.
This next one is coming in from Korean John, who's writing to us from Kerala. Kunal, IDFC First Bank, 500 shares at around 77 rupees per share. He purchased this a year ago. He wants to know whether he should hold it or not for a period of 2 years.
See, hold it on. I think, yes, the stock has been a bit of a disappointment in the last 5-6 months or so. But I would believe that the stock is nearing a major base formation. So I think it's already completed a whipsaw breakout on the short to medium term charts, specifically on the weekly charts. And I would believe in that sense, maybe this low of 70, 75 could be a major support for IDFC First Bank. And whenever the cycle turns on for the private sector banking names, I think this stock has the potential to come back towards 90 plus mark, at least over the medium term. So if you can hold on to the stock, say for the next 9 months or so, I would believe 90 plus could be a potential target which you can keep for IDFC First Bank.
All right, so that's the take coming in on IDFC First Bank. With that, we come to the end of the query segment. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Avinash, for joining us on the show and taking our viewers through all the stock-related queries. And thank you, Kunal, for the Pathshala. With that, we come to the end of this week's edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. I'm sure Shrishti will agree it's been a very long week, looks like it. But thank you so much, viewers, for tuning in and staying with us all through the week. And it's a goodbye from Shrishti, myself, the team that put the show together, our producer Shreyansi and Somashri, and our director Trevor and Ravindra. Thank you so much for watching.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.